Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to IBM TV Chess Show. My name is Sasha Starr, and I would like to introduce my esteemed panel, starting with Grandmaster Mikhail Marin and his lovely wife Maria, a very talented artist.
So,
Hope to see your work soon again. And we have Professor Kenneth Regan. Welcome to the show. How are you
Thank
today?
you very much for having me on again. Yes.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see you. And of course, Mikhail and Maria, you're.
I was going to put on my Buffalo Bills cap, but my computer equipment malfunctioned, so I have to wear my headphones.
I see. No problem at all. And today we have somebody else in the show, although he is not directly participating in the show, but is the theme. What we are going to discuss is esteemed opinion of Grandmaster Lev Alburt, who put it in Facebook form, and I was quite fascinated by this post. And a couple of words about Grandmaster Lev Alburt. He is from the same city, Odessa, where I used to live. So I knew him when I was about, say, teenager. He was older, about 4 years older than I was. So to me, he was like god or semi-god, and he was, of course, the leading player in the city of Odessa. Another one was, of course, Vladimir Tukmakov, who became well-known grandmaster, as you know.
Geller is probably the strongest of them, no? Geller was also from Odessa, yes?
Cool.
Yefim Geller.
Oh, of course. Yefim Geller was, he was a god, actually.
Yes. I mean,
Odessa, he was absolutely
I just wanted
admired
to put
player. But then, in perspective, of course. But I met Lev Alburt also a few times in New York City. When I was with my wife now in New York, we met him socially on a few occasions. So obviously he has to be admired for his original style of play, his and his achievements. I mean, he was 3 times champion of Ukraine before he left USSR, and of course he was 3 times champion of United States. And
didn't you also win the Soviet championship once?
a Soviet championship, I'm not so sure. And
He played in Romania. He played the international tournament in Bucharest,
mhm.
and once, and it was shortly before he immigrated. And I believe that he came, if not a champion, at least as a high prizer in the Soviet championship. I have to check.
No, he was he's admirable man in for many reasons. Not only his achievements as a chess player, of course, but also author of chess books. He is a very deep chess thinker and a publicist, and his opinions are very eloquent, and he's a great communicator. As the chess is concerned, he's a very esteemed chess teacher and instructor, and from what I gather, a lot of very well-known Wall Street people, CEOs of many companies, inventors, and strategists, they used to take or taking chess lessons from Lev. So obviously his opinion is highly regarded, and I would like to.
Just a word. I think that his main problem for not becoming even stronger was that against e4 he always played the Alekhine, and against d4 only the Volga Benko gambit. So of course, they're not bad openings, but let's say they are a little bit more limited than okay, let's say the Grunfeld, the Sicilian. I mean, you have very narrow paths you can go through. So probably this was some limitation. Well, he knew them inside out.
He was very thorough in his openings. And by the way, the Alekhine, he was the great a proponent of lurking defense. He played it constantly, and I think only one player actually was able to penetrate his lurking defense, and it was Anatoly Karpov. And
Okay.
I think after one of the games that Karpov beat Lev Alburt, I think Lev confessed that unfortunately Karpov found almost made his defense in a way unplayable in some ways.
No, but okay, when you played with Karpov in his best years, when he was only playing e4, I mean, what would you play against him? It's also a question.
That's a good question, yeah, because obviously he was so very skillful in real pass, and you wouldn't have a chance with black pieces against him. And what else? Sicilian maybe. Well, Kasparov actually found.
Yeah, okay, but this came a little bit later, and then he switched to d4 after he couldn't break Kasparov's Scheveningen. He switched to d4 actually.
Yeah, that's right. But you need Kasparov by the way he played in 1985.
Yes.
That's what happened. By the way, interestingly enough, in his post, Lev Alburt said that he believed that by the time that Kasparov retired from chess in 2005, he didn't play any better than in 1995 or even 1990, and arguably 1985.
So that we can look at in my work. Yeah. So
yes, and Ken, how would you react to this?
Okay, well, I only react with numbers. I mean, I do have my own opinions about the games, and I think the Kasparov-Karpov matches, 1985 to 90, were an amazing series with some very great strategic challenge. But if I share my screen, I'll just show the data I have with my disclaimer that this version of my work was mainly about accuracy. I still have not fully quantified challenge in chess the way I would like to. Nevertheless, this is one of the pages of my intrinsic rating compendium on my website. I have all the World Championship matches going back to Morphy Anderson. And I have the intrinsic performance rating, as well as the ratings of their players after 2070. So, I mean, for instance, Lasker and Crushing Marshall played at 2870 strength. Okay, so people did play 2800 chess back then. Same thing, Lasker over Yanovsky. Lasker Schlechter I have is 2700 plus from both players.
Wait, Ken, explain how did you arrive to these astronomical ratings?
Okay, so these are my intrinsic performance ratings using the absolute quality of the moves the players made as judged by Rybka 3. So, of course, neither of these two players had access to Rybka 3, so it's a fair, you can't say that the computer is influencing their play. This is an older version of my model that was more tailored toward accuracy than the current one. I have not yet updated this paper with the current one. The chess cheating pandemic is keeping me too busy. In fact, this is the first time during one of your shows for this year that I haven't simultaneously been doing a tournament. I mean, literally while your show is going on. So Capablanca over Lasker. Okay, Lasker played poorly, 2500 strength only, but you know he was going to beat Capablanca playing 2800 level anyway. Alyekin Capablanca in 1927, high quality play from both sides. Alyekin Bagolyubov, Alyekin Erva, you know, maybe not so much. Even when Alyekin bounced back in 1937, there was some benefit of not some good play by both players. But anyway, the subject of what we wish to talk about with Lev Alburt is the matches in the Soviet School of Chess era, beginning 1950, Botvinnik Bronstein. And, you know, for the most part, definitely grandmaster level strength. Now, one thing that's certainly touched upon in Alburt's post is that these players did not have the benefit of modern opening preparation. Moreover, the novelties in their games come much earlier than the average novelty today. When I do a cheating test, I exclude book moves. So I'm not giving players credit. I'm not giving Caruana credit for playing 30 moves of book against MVL to reach a slightly worse position. Okay. But on the other hand, I am just trying to measure the quality of moves that comes out of their brains, not using a computer during a game, no matter how it got there, whether it got there from reading physical chess books or with computers or making things up at the board, however. So for the most part, quality, I would say averaging high 2600s, and that's not bad if you consider that during the early 1980s, there were no players rated 2700. Karpov was highest at 2695.
Right.
So this is fairly good. Now we come to the Reykjavik match, and this is for the first time we have the ELO column here, and that I actually have under 2650 from both players. Again, there were notable mistakes made, and now we come to the great marathon match in 1984, which I actually want to exclude from my analysis. While Karpov and Kasparov were in draw mode, both players were playing so accurately that I'm measuring near 3000 level.
Really?
Yes.
So in your opinion, this is the highest level chess ever?
But accuracy does not necessarily include challenge. That's the problem. It's taken me a long time to get my model up to the point where I can say that I'm measuring challenge in chess.
But which match is this? The second one?
So this is the marathon match. Then there is the 1985 match, the 1986 match split between London and Lyon, was it, or London and Leningrad? I forget which.
Leningrad.
Leningrad. That was incredibly high power chess. I attended the 11th game of the match, the next to last game in London personally. So this is where, and in 1987, not so much. But on the other hand, the error bars on these measurements are also substantial. So if I say Kasparov 2660, not so much, the measurement could be as high as 2800. You have to sort of halfway between these two error bars. So take it with a little grain of salt. And the 1990 match actually arguably a step down in quality. And Kasparov 1995 against Anand, I mean, that was an incredible creative achievement from Kasparov. So it's good to see my model. But now Kasparov-Kramnik, again, a match with 16 draws and 18 games, if I remember correctly. Very high from both players because it's praising their accuracy.
No, it's 12 draws out of 13 draws in 15 games, I believe.
Okay. So that's the resume here. Now let's see, I don't have Kasparov's Vikonsay 2005 or any of the later tournaments here. I don't think I have them. Maybe I do. I think I have just the whole tournament averages, not the players.
I see.
But at any rate, I have to say, not so much difference in quality. I mean, I should say recently there are more high level performances by both players, but there are plenty of others that are comparable with the matches of the 1950s and 1960s. Certainly this one.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And then what would you say about the latest matches? Carlsen against Anand, against Karetin, against...
Yeah, unfortunately, this one only goes up to Anand Topalov because this paper dates to 2012. I do have the intrinsic ratings from those matches. I could dig them out. I've written articles about them. But let me find it quickly. But the main thing that's striking that I've noticed is... actually, let me keep this window open here. Is Carlsen being an absolute beast in the rapid both times. So this again is the Girls Lost Letter blog. Far from a turkey shoot. So this was my article on the end of Carlsen Caruana, and I talk about the some of the long games. So let's see now. Okay, so through 11 games, both players high quality. This is with a newer version of my model. So Carlsen almost 2,900, Caruana 2,860. Okay, after the 12 regulation games, it changed just a little bit. Okay, so again, this is accuracy that you would expect from a match of 12 draws. Okay, but then in the rapid playoff, Carlsen played. So I talk about this long end game, and then somewhere I have an update that shows Carlsen playing over 2,800 level in the rapid playoff. Here we go. Next post.
Right.
So this match, tiebreak win in the matter of draws. So here we go. Carlsen in the let's see, Caruana's quality of 2575. Now, point is at rapid chess, there should be a subtraction of about 240, 250 points, depending on the exact time control. Oh, this was 25 minutes plus an extra 10 seconds. So it's actually should be a subtraction of 200 rating points. So Caruana's 2575 was roughly comparable with his standard rating around 2830. So it was a drop off 260 instead of 200. Yeah, 210 ELO is what's there. But Carlsen played higher in the rapid, measuring his games by the standards of slow chess. If we add the 200 points back, he played the equivalent of 3150 at slow chess. And that's why Caruana got steamrollered. Okay.
Absolutely. Same as Karyak in his match.
And I have also here on the same blog where I had Lowen data sets, Magnus and the Turkey Grinder, and then in a later follow-up to this post. Oh yeah, here we go. So in fact, so Carlsen played the tie-break games. I measured his IPR at 2835, although again, plus or minus 250. So wide error bars, but add 200 for the time control. He played over 3,000 strength. And Karyakin played the rapid games not too well. Okay, so 2,520 maybe if you add back 200 points. Okay, well below his mark for the regular match. So the fact of Carlsen playing like such a beast in rapid chess is the main thing. And I talk about other technical aspects of this, but at any rate, that's what I have to say. Now, I did see there was an article that I think was linked from Tyler Cowen's Marginal Revolution blog, or maybe I saw it elsewhere on Facebook, saying that it really was a rational decision for Carlsen to make the draw rather than play out an advantage where there was some risk of losing.
Last game with Caruana, right?
Last game with Caruana, because he was a 75% favorite in the in the rapid games. Okay, so I'll unshare and I could reshare if you want to ask questions.
That's Ken, fantastic. We are going to continue right after the short break.
Okay.
We will have a commercial. Thank you. Okay, we'll continue. I find it fascinating that Lev Alburt came to certain conclusions, which he put in his post, almost agreeable with
But just
your
one moment.
investigations. Is that right?
I didn't understand what you said in the beginning. What did he say about Kasparov before retiring? He did not play better, or he did not play worse than in his best years? I mean,
Oh well, Ken, what's your reading? Because I read a
no.
few
But
times.
Well, I was going to say that it would help me to have a better translation of Albert's post and get rid of some of the unnecessary distracting things that he says.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, but I mean, he makes points about old versus new, and the only one that isn't distracting is when he asks, why don't we have violins of the quality of Stradivarius today? Which Google doesn't catch, by the way. But anyway.
I know it's not perfect translation, but after Stradivarius and many other things, he comes strictly to chess at one point. Right. And what he's saying is that, in his opinion, it's obvious that Kasparov, by the time he retired in 2000, first of all, his rating was number one from, say, 85 to 2005 until he's retired. Okay, so for 20 years, he was number one. So when he retired in 2005, he believes that he was not stronger that he was in 1995, 1990, and arguably in 1985.
But it's normal because he was, he was by 15 or 20 years older, and he played less. And also there are all these kids with the computers making his challenge to crush them out of the opening because of his understanding a bit more difficult. So I think that if he didn't play worse than 15 years earlier, it meant that actually in a way he understood much better. Only that he was he was already over 40, not an old man, but still not in his 20s. I mean.
Well, I missed one thing. He said that at that time, when he retired, only one player who challenged him and did it, in fact, quite well was Vladimir Kramnik. That's quite obvious because he beat him in a match in the year 2000, and of course he was extremely strong player in his own rights. But he's concentrating on Kasparov, not Kramnik. Yes. So apparently here we can agree with Grandmaster Albert, right?
That he did not play better. I don't make such statements. I mean, I would say that I could say that he didn't play weaker, but I would not say about a player that he didn't play better than. And somehow it sounds disrespectful.
Well, no, actually, it's an interesting moment because basically he's comparing Kasparov to Kasparov because there's nothing else to compare to. So he's comparing Kasparov of 2005 to Kasparov 1995 to Kasparov 1990 and Kasparov 1985, right?
You understand? If you take any player, I mean, maybe this is an indirect compliment to Kasparov, to the older Kasparov 2005.
Yes.
When he was 42, I believe, yes? Because take any player, and you'll never think of saying that in his 40s, he didn't play better than in his 20s. Because, just look at modern stars. They are all between 20 and 30.
Mikhail, what about Korchnoi? Korchnoi, when he was 48, he was playing better than ever in his life.
Okay, but fortunately, you understand, he's another breed. He didn't know what computer is. Okay, he used his mind. I mean, Korchnoi for me is. With all my conviction that Fischer was the strongest player ever from practical point of view, I think that Korchnoi was the deepest and most multi-sided and the guy who best understood chess from the whole history. I think you cannot find somebody. I mean, Fischer was very good. But you understand the fact that Korchnoi at 70-something plays for the first time in his life the Slav defense with black. against Gelfand, and he beats him to win the tournament with Grishuk, Vidler, or all these guys. I mean, okay, what do you say about this? I mean,
That's
this is
amazing.
something. I mean, okay, Smysl was also such an example, but for him it was easier. He had this inner talent of harmony, of collaboration between the pieces. And actually, I think that maybe I said this in a previous show. Karpov was the player whom I admired because his games were very logical. He outplayed the opponent strategically by a sense of harmony, and then he crowned his better play tactically somehow, and he controlled also the game to maintain the strategic advantage. He used small tactical moments. But Karpov's games are not many of them are not perfect. They are good. They are very interesting to analyze. But they also contain some sort of bluffs because Karpov was a player. I said, okay, I have this idea. I will play it. Oh, he will not manage to. Smyslov, I think he was a better prototype of this. I mean, he was closer to perfection than Karpov from this point of view. But he was not such a player. I mean, he just enjoyed, I think that Smyslov's games are even better than Karpov's from this point of view. I mean, against different generations. Even in '95, he could still play very good games against the young grandmasters. So Eiravan, all, I mean, okay, age was no problem for him. Okay, for Korchnoi it was more difficult because he was not so talented. He had to work himself to reach.
He almost rebuilt his game completely when he was already 40 years old.
No, when he was 30. He started the process when he was 30. When he was 40, he completed the process, and he was somehow at his peak. But okay, it so happened that there was this other guy, 20 years younger than him, with whom he would regularly play matches.
Yes.
20 years is 20 years. And the guy was also not so bad.
Exactly. Now, interesting part of Lev Alburt's post is when he's comparing, these matches, Caruana and Karyakin, they were relatively short, say 12 games matches, right? Forget about the fast play and all this, just regular players. It was 12 games each. Okay. So he's comparing that with another short match. For example, Karpov versus Spassky in Candidates, if you remember, in 1974.
Right.
Now, I remember from Kasparov's book, My Great Predecessors, he's saying that Karpov in that match, he brought chess on a completely new level. That on that level, nobody ever played before. Although he's not saying that that level was higher than, for example, Reykjavik match, but it was incredibly high level of chess.
Yes, I have that too. I have Karpov Korchnoi, 1974, not Karpov Spassky. That's middle 2600s. Okay, yes, I don't have Karpov Spassky from 74.
But he's evaluating the play of both Karpov Spassky higher than anything else, including even Karpov Korchnoi, because Korchnoi, most of the games, Korchnoi was. He was suffering, and only at the end of the match he won 2 games.
Yeah, I don't have that match. Yeah,
it was kind of one-sided match until the very end.
Korchnoi, I don't know what happened with him. He realized that he was under political pressure. No, personally, I believe that Korchnoi, he was. He was a remarkable player and a very clever and wise person. But his character was simply unbearable. So I think that everybody hated him in the Soviet Union because he was as he was. Maybe politically they also disliked him. I mean, Karpov was very correct in everything. No, so I'm not sure. I think he had made himself so many enemies with his, behavior and all the scandals that. Of course, he felt alone during that match. And when he immigrated, of course, he got rid of this fear that everybody was. So, but anyway, he played that in that match. He played rather poorly. I mean, the -1 final result was mainly because he was physically stronger than Karpov,
Yeah,
even though because that was a long match, 24 games.
so, but I'm talking about match, and Lev Alburt mentioned it in the post, specifically match Spassky Karpov. Because at that time, first of all, Spassky was a favorite to win this match because he played historical match with Fischer. In '73, he very convincingly won the Soviet Union chess championship, where Karpov and Korchnoi
Well,
and Kriskov everybody played.
he won a point ahead of Karpov. So I
Yes,
mean, okay, it was not such a big difference. I mean, okay, he was probably the favorite, but not a big favorite. And
not
besides,
big. Yes,
he was
agree.
he could have lost the game against Karpov, and then there would have been a tie.
I
So it
agree,
was-
but
it-
Lev's point though is, as I understand it, that level of chess in that particular match was not lower than in Carlsen, Caruana, and Karyakin matches. That's where I understood.
you are making me laugh.
Yeah, that I'm going to disagree with. Right.
You're making me laugh. Say now, okay, those guys played chess. Okay, this is the big difference. No, actually, I remember there was a Karo-Kan when Karpov seemed to be in trouble. It was opposite castles.
Yeah, but Spassky couldn't win that game anyway.
No, but simply Karpov played the best. I mean, it was something like he could maintain both wings under control. And no, it was not winning. He simply found the only moves who would not lose. And there are many tactical Tal analysis a lot and shows that everything else Karpov would have done would have just if Karpov saw that, or if no, there are or if he simply felt that it would be not right. I don't know, but he defended. Yes. No, that match was at a very high level, of course.
No, I would say on the Karpov side, it was extremely high level, and Kasparov admitted in his game, in his book, My Great Predecessors, not so much Spassky. I don't think that Spassky was in his best form, perhaps, but Karpov was at his peak at that time, I'm pretty sure, right?
But Winnick wrote that never after this candidate cycle, I mean the 3 matches, did Karpov play so well. I mean, okay, but Winnick's comment must have been written somewhere in the early 80s or something.
That's right.
He said that never after, no, because against Kasparov, of course, the level was probably better because there is this factor of challenge Ken mentioned. I don't know exactly how it works mathematically, but Karpov-Kasparov, I think the factor of challenge was higher. But of course, Karpov was very precise in those matches.
Okay, but I have one question. What do you think would happen in the matches Carlsen, Caruana, and
right? Well, what he says at the end is a match between Carlsen and Botvinnik, and he says he would put his money 3-1 on Botvinnik playing under equal conditions.
No, I think that only one thing is needed. Just teleport the guy in Botvinnik's place. Leave him without a computer. Live without a computer. I don't know, 1 month, half a year. I don't know how much is needed, so that he forgets everything, and then make him work alone on his repertoire and everything, and then you organize a match with Botvinnik. I mean, that would be fair.
I would put the money 3-1 on Carlsen. So
okay. So all we have to do is to find Lev Alburt's phone number and give him an offer.
You know what the trap with the computers is when you use the computer to make this analysis. I mean, I will record the video now. You know, there was this match you did Polgar with Spassky, and Spassky's main weapon was the Briar. And there is a line in the Briar, okay, you go all the way with the knight to g3, g6, and you play b3. And now d5 was supposed then to, equalize. And then Psachis came up with this idea, which had been played only once in an old Soviet game. Bishop g5, h6, bishop h4. Actually, it's logical because, one of the first things I learned in chess from my first trainer was that when you have a tension in the center with 4 pawns like this, you should not release it. You should induce the opponent to release it. But of course, bishop h4 is a piece sacrifice. And Spassky didn't take the piece, and he got into a worse position and lost. And of course, in 93 still, I mean, people would think if Spassky and Judith Polgar thought that bishop h4 g5 is dangerous, it is dangerous. But then the computer became stronger in 2005 or 2006. And the guy, Mamedjarov, started playing this with black. And he even said that, oh, okay, I have many analyses, a lot of lines, I know them all, but white has only several draws, but no win. And I'm convinced about it. Okay, 1 year later, he gave up the line because the computers became a bit stronger. Now, if you look at the variation with my computer, which is already 7 years old, but okay, it used to be strong then. Of course, the variation is completely losing. I mean, you cannot take the piece. So you understand, you say that Carlsen is stronger than Botvinnik or Tal. You use computer of a certain generation. Maybe at some point the computers will grow so strong as to understand Tal's play.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I need to use my later model, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, okay, it's relative. We will never know, you know, I mean, okay, I'm glad that you said about Lasker Schlechter that it was high level, because, okay, I have studied that match in detail some 10, 15 years ago. It's only 10 games. But indeed, they're very consistent somehow. It's a really... what I think needs adjustment, the first match, Alekhine Bogolyubov. Probably, if you consider the challenge factor, probably their strengths will be higher, because, okay, that was a very interesting match. I mean, maybe some weaker games, maybe
Yeah,
some.
I have a few partial results with my model for challenge, and one thing it does is it raises Morphy's rating by 80 points. So you know, so Morphy gets credited for more challenge in his games. So.
Okay. I cannot think of Morphy of 21.
Right.
But okay, this is too far back. But okay, Alekhine Bogolyubov, actually that was quite a challenge, and the result was, I mean, beforehand the result was not clearer than, let's say, before the match Alekhine Capablanca, because they were both in huge progress, Alekhine and Bogolyubov. Only that Alekhine's progress was like this, and Bogolyubov was like this.
I think a certain flaw is in the statement that he would put 3-1 money on Botvinnik versus Carlsen. Is obviously so, in his opinion, Botvinnik is way stronger than Carlsen. Okay, hold on. But if Botvinnik is so much stronger than Carlsen, then Tal and Petrosian and probably Smyslov too, but never mind Smyslov, but Karpov and Fischer and Kasparov, they were all stronger than Magnus Carlsen because they were all stronger than Botvinnik, or it's, my thinking is not correct.
Yeah. That's a good sanity check on this.
But you know, in principle, Botvinnik is not the best example, because Botvinnik was not very even in his results. He was also doing other things. So I mean, he was not. He was also an engineer working on some projects. He wanted to develop some sort of stockfish. I mean, okay, whatever. Right. But no, okay. Let's take Smyslov, who was somehow a very balanced player. I mean, okay. I don't think that Smyslov would be in such a danger against against Caruana for sure. Against Carlsen, I mean, he didn't play endgame worse than Carlsen, and in the other, I mean, the middle game, he would be more multifaceted. How do you say it? So I think that in middle game he would be stronger than Carlsen. In the opening, okay, of course, if you take Carlsen with the computer, then of course he has an advantage over Smyslov with the book.
Well, all I can say is I wish if Carlsen played his matches, and in the future as well, first with the same conditions as all other matches were played, where the winner is, if it's a challenger, he must win the match. And if it's a champion, if it's a draw, then champion retains his title. And number two, no increments whatsoever. Just play. I don't care if it's an hour per game, 2 hours per game, 2.5 hours per game, 40 moves with certain time, but no increments. Increments kills the game, in my opinion.
Because the challenger would have to win the match.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So then
Absolutely. So both Caruana and Karyakin, they would use different tactics and they would play differently because they would know the draw doesn't yield them anything. The draw, okay, the draw. So at the best, you probably split the money in case of draws, but no chance to become a world champion through speed play, Armageddon play, or other kind of plays.
Yes,
You
but
must defeat.
it's interesting that this makes sense. Okay, when they used to play 24 games, it made sense
Yeah,
that
and I don't mind. They should play 24 games.
no. In the times they had 24 games, it
Yeah,
made sense that the champion keeps his title because okay, if you couldn't beat me in 24 games, it means you are not better than me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't influence the match strategy so much because in 24 games you can come back if you lose a game. In 12
Right.
games, it makes sense because it forces you. I mean, you cannot just let the match flow like this. I mean, you made 3 draws or 4 draws in a row, you're already in danger that you will never win the match.
Well, you see what's happened in match Kasparov-Kramnik when Kasparov lost second game. It was 16 games match. Now 16 games is it's borderline between long 24 games and shorter 10 or 12 games or so. But losing second game basically made him lose the match altogether. No, not that he didn't play so well, but psychologically he was under greatest pressure. The way I remember, he never been under such a pressure as with the match with Kramnik by losing second game.
Yes.
There was not enough time. He couldn't penetrate Berlin ending, and with black pieces. So what can you do if you're playing all match with black pieces and you have no whites? How can you win the match?
No, but okay, he did many. But that match was really suspicious. I mean, why didn't he switch to D4? Why didn't he try a Scotch? Why? I mean, he just tried the Berlin. I don't know. Either this was one of his least uninspired moments, or I don't know what happened. Because why would he try again and again to break the Berlin?
Interestingly enough, I read the book in Russian by Evgeny Bareev, a grandmaster who was second of Kramnik, and he's saying there that all the seconds, they were sure that any time, any game, Kramnik will get crushed in Berlin, and so they were preparing alternative openings. And Kramnik says, why are you wasting your time? It's fantastic opening. I really enjoy playing that. Just do it. And he was right.
By the way, about the time control that you mentioned, there is this legend, I don't know if it's true, that during the war, Botvinnik used to play in some underground space training games with Rogozin.
Yes.
And they tried several time controls.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end, the war ends. Rogozin gets into FIDE. And they came to the conclusion that Botvinnik plays best if it's 5 hours, 2.5 hours for each for 40 moves, having the old system. And then they put it like this to FIDE. Okay, this may be a legend, but okay, now we had this last tournament, yes, in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very strange. I mean, okay, you have 2 hours for 40 moves, no increment. And then on move 40, you start getting these 10 seconds.
I see.
Yes.
So, I mean, okay. And then you have this strange Armageddon, 10 against 7. I mean, something a bit unusual. So, okay, what can you suspect? The tournament is Norway. The winner is from Norway. If he cannot beat the guys in 40 moves, he gets an additional chance to beat them in rapid after move 40 because he's good in rapid. And if this fails, then he still has this strange Armageddon, 10 against 7. So I don't know.
I would use maybe some different games to decide who is better. Maybe poker or blackjack or something else. Why not?
No,
Carlsen has won the last 3 Norway chesses, but before then there was talk about why he didn't win any of the first 3 or 4 of them.
But the system was the same?
Well, I mean, no, they were. Maybe you're right. Maybe those were the more traditional format.
No.
So you might have a
that
point.
this thing with I mean that you get 2 hours and then the no addition, just the increment after move 40. I think this is very new.
Yeah. No, I think the Bundesliga's had that. Maybe not.
I think this is very new. It was somehow unusual because I think they no in Armageddon. Okay, they get increment after a certain move. This makes things look a bit more human. This I can understand because Armageddon itself is something so important. I mean, it needs some adjusting. But I mean, okay, it's like made like a glove for Carlsen. I mean, okay, he doesn't play so bad. The opening.
Why not organize Armageddon World Championship?
Yes.
Hell with all the classical chess and everything. Just Armageddon. Everybody's playing.
Yeah.
But you understand, he gets the opportunity to do what he did in the matches with Karyakin and Caruana. I mean, drawing the match and then winning in the rapid. He gets this possibility in every game. You understand? I mean, he plays 40 moves. He doesn't. Okay, he will not lose because he lost one. He should have lost the second one against Karyakin. Okay, there are limitations to this system, but okay, still he managed to be somewhere there around. And then he wins after move 40 when it's a rapid already. Rapid close to blitz, maybe. So, I mean, okay. No, I don't really mind so much, but especially that there was this Botvinnik legend earlier. But it's just funny, no?
London Classic is what I'm thinking of. Okay.
We're mixing classic with everything. With everything else. I mean, with rapid after move 40 and then after the game Armageddon. So, which is Armageddon with increment at some point.
That's weird. That doesn't make sense.
You understand that? I mean, what are you playing?
that takes away the point of Armageddon. Yeah, I agree with that.
No, basically, if you think about other sports, what you see on TV, let's say soccer, you see hockey games, basketball games, they're about 2 hours long, plus minus, right? So
right.
It's
baseball 4 hours.
Yeah, chess is 4 or 5 hours, whatever. So I wouldn't mind to see, let's see a game, hour per game. No increments, nothing. Just 1 hour for any moves, whatever.
2 hour session.
40 moves, 60 moves, 125 moves, doesn't matter. You have 1 hour per game.
And you're 60, yeah.
Right? It's a 2 hour show, and you do your best. I mean, if you lose in time, so you lost in time. So next time you'll be a little bit faster, or so on. What's wrong with such control?
Sorry?
What's wrong with such a control?
I don't know. I personally agree with this system with 5 hours. I mean, 2.5 each for 40 moves, and with the journaling and so on. So okay, now of course the journaling is not the same fun because of computers. Yeah, okay, that's. But
no, journaling is ruled out because of computers. I agree.
No, but I mean, okay, to play 60 moves in 6 hours, let's say. In 7 hours, maybe it's a bit too much because then you have to keep another, I don't know, 15 minutes or something to end the game. So you have 60 moves in 6 or 7 hours, and then to have some extra 15 minutes. This makes some sense somehow, and it's something probably 6 hours and 15. Yeah, they use this system actually. They used it. But then, of course, the idea of Armageddon is not so bad. I mean, there was these tournaments in the 19th century when they would not take a draw as a result.
London, 1883, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry? 18.
London, 1883, yeah, go on.
Yes. And they would replay and replay and replay, but it was at normal time rate. Of course, nowadays money is too important to. I mean, a player would not. I mean, for this ridiculous amount of money they get there as prizes, he would not spend there an additional week or so to replay a draw. I mean, okay, no, it was ridiculous. It was between, But okay, Armageddon kind of yes, kind of. But they could do it differently. I mean, why don't they play two rapids first and only then the Armageddon? I mean, it's too brutal. After the game, you go directly to Armageddon. It's kind of, I don't know. It's something different. I mean, yeah. But okay, in the past, if we talk about the 60s, the 70s, it was also that the players would not, in the 60s for sure, they were not obsessed by rating. And they would just play. They would just play. I mean, okay, what does it mean, a draw? Oh, by the way, I just read a post today about Romanishin.
Oh, what is it?
It was the European team championship in Plovdiv '83. They were playing on 8 boards there. And in the, I think it was the last round, Soviet Union already won the championship. And they seem to have agreed to make all draws against Hungary. Hungary came third. 7 games ended in draws very quickly. But the 8th board, the Soviet player, Romanishin, wanted to play with black.
Against Aryan.
And he won against Chom, against Istvan Chom. And he won. This didn't change the result. The Hungarians, they were between two teams at some margin, you know. It didn't change Yugoslavia and England, I think. It didn't change the result. But okay, the guy, I mean, what do you mean draw? The other guys already, you know. I mean, what do you mean draw with black?
Yeah. Black is okay, as your teammate said. Yeah.
That's right.
But I think
Adorian, yeah?
Yes.
No, Adorian was a bit higher, I think.
Mikhail, when you mentioned 8 boards, I remember that there was a unique 8 boards match between Bronstein and Tal. What's happened is they were playing 8 boards simultaneously against each other. That's another thing what I would definitely be interested to try.
This is similar with the Bakre, or how do they call it? In China, they had some festivals of Rapid and Blitz. And then there was also Bakre, I don't know how they call it.
Basque, B-A-S-Q-U-E, yeah.
Yes. They were playing 2 games simultaneously with white and with white. With white and with black, something like that, Rapid or Blitz, So
that's interesting, right?
Yeah, but it's a reduced form of the Tal Bronstein thing. Because it was 8 boards, okay. So
they played 8 boards, 4 whites, 4 blacks. That's quite interesting. Would be very difficult to follow, but it's quite interesting. Well, I think we have a program for next Saturday is to find a perfect chess control, time control, and the formula for world championship.
I'll have data on that. That will be interesting. Yes,
that would be interesting because it affects, I think, the time control increments and the condition. Whereas champion retains his title in case of draw. All that affects the quality of play, the style of play, many other things. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Next Saturday, I will have a webinar, which should end exactly when the show starts, but usually there are some 5 or 10 minutes of questions.
Okay.
So we can join only with some delay. I mean, 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, we can probably start at 3:15 then.
Okay.
And I should say that I'm not guaranteed. I'm not sure. So, but
okay,
we'll see.
Okay, we'll find it.
If you can start 15 minutes later, then I think it's no problem at all.
Yeah, we'll start at 3:15.
Okay.
So on this note, I would like to thank everybody for participating in today's program, and of course, we have to thank Lev Alburt, our basically creator of today's content in many ways. And when I will be in New York, I'll have to buy him a drink, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and see you hopefully next Saturday. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.